episode of Gray Magnolias. I'm Alma, and this video is going to be showing my son's Halloween costume. It's well past Halloween when I'm filming this, but I never posted, like, besides on my Instagram if you're following there. I never posted anything on like my community tab or anything like that. And I'm also gonna quickly do like a quickish, hopefully, review of the books I finished reading, one book I'm DNFing, and the foreseeable future plans, possibly, of what I will be reading and kind of all that. So let me start off with the costume. It was a total hit. At first, this one lady was like, oh, it totally looks handmade, and I was kind of like offended, but I didn't like it. To me, I don't think she meant it like in a bad way, I hope, but everyone was like, oh my god, that's amazing. Did you make it? Did you use paper mache? Did you use balloon? I was like, yes. I was like really proud. So no one could tell what it was from, which is fine. But it was a really good trick or treat. It wasn't too hot this year, which was nice. And there's like this neighborhood that it doesn't close the streets, but like all the houses go all out, like, and there's police monitoring like the traffic and stuff like that, so it's like a safe place to just go door to door. You like park somewhere. It's like always crazy busy. And not a lot of people dressed up, which was kind of disappointing. But da 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 da. One piece is missing because my son's been playing with it, but so happy with this. The only thing I really wish I worked on was structure, because this is way too big for his tiny head, so it was like literally a helmet, and I didn't want to cut out in here because I don't have like the right tools with me. A lot of my craft stuff is in storage. So yeah, I'm so happy how it turned out. What I did for the lure of like the angler slime was I got a tea light, and it was actually a multicolored tea light, which was pretty cool. And then I like pushed it into a balloon, which in hindsight I wish I got a clear balloon, but I just picked a white balloon, and I kind of like tucked it in and made sure I could still have access to the on and off switch, and it like really glowed really well at night. And then what I ended up doing here was I picked up some like air dry clay, and I molded it to roughly what it looked like, and then I used whatever super glue for this. And then I picked up a really shitty paint at my local craft store, but like I didn't want to spend more money than I already did, because this was like, I think overall this was like a $10 costume, crafts and everything added up. The most expensive things being the clay, which Walmart had some like on clearance or something like that. It was like a pound of it for like $3, and I was like, yes, I'm gonna get that, and then we can use it for like school time and stuff like that. Couldn't find it anywhere, so I was stuck with Play-Doh's little packet one, and they were like $4 a piece, and I didn't want to take a chance that it wasn't enough, so I bought two. The pipe cleaners, a whole pack was like $1.60, like 60 something, and then this blue paint was like 2 something. So yeah, like roughly $10-13 if you want to like push it between paint and everything. So, but yeah, it was so cute. It was so fun. He got like a lot of candy this year, like good candy. The last time we went and he was a spider, the candy was whack in my opinion. I don't know if it was a bad year all around, but yeah. Okay, so I finished. Oh my god, I just found out what this series is called. I can't remember now. If I look it up, I'll put it here. So one of these was a reread, and it was so good, so good. So this is, maybe it's in the back. God, let me see here. Oh, bear with me. No, okay. So I reread The Highwayman by Kerrigan Byrne. Yeah, Byrne. Okay, the first time I read this was just audiobook, and it like had me in it chokehold. It was so gripping, so beautiful, and the twist, I was like, what? I did not see that coming. I'm kind of sometimes a little oblivious to plot twists and stuff like that. I don't pick up key clues or anything. But oh my goodness. So this follows Dorian Blackwell and Farah. Um, Dorian's the Black Heart of Benmore. He is like the king of the underbelly of London and all this stuff. He's like wealthy and everything. And he fixates on Farah, who's this widow. She works for Scotland Yard and all this stuff. And it's like their journey and like their past intertwining and the secrets and darkness and like him overcoming. It's like he's a wounded villain, hero, anti-hero type of thing. And like, and she's like a fairy. Farah the fairy, pretty much. Fairy is keyword. Like rereading this was such a joy, such a heartache, because of like now, like I will not spoil this. But in the reread, knowing what I knew already and like reading certain parts of my heart was like, oh my god, that's so tragic. So 5 out of 5. Amazing. All of these books have 2 very explicit scenes, trigger warning, child abuse, violence, RAPE, like it's trigger warning for sure. Like really, really, look into that. And then I didn't realize I was talking to someone on Instagram, and I'm like giving her play by play, like, oh my god, this and this, and she's like, oh, there's like 7 or 8 books. I'm like, oh, 7 or 8 books. I don't know if I can read all that right now. I don't want to get like burnt out from that, because it's kind of the outline is the same, but I feel like Kerrigan does a really good job of executing and developing each characters. Even the side characters are really good. The little bits like that they have, a lot of them aren't like in your face. Like Murdoch in here, love him. Amazing side character. Walter, love him too. So good. And Gemma, like I can remember them. They made an impact really well. Rounded side characters were just really rare when a lot of books like just focus on the 2 main characters, and sometimes depending on how they execute the plot, I feel they can't really develop that side character, even though like they're significant. Side characters, support the main characters. You know what I'm saying? So the second one in the series is called The Hunter. Trigger warning. This was such a brutal prologue. Like trigger warning. It was devastating. We have Christopher Argent, who is a secret lethal assassin, but he's again anti-hero. He gets rid of, actually no, at the beginning, no, not really, but he doesn't hurt children. He's like a murder for hire type of person, an assassin. Yeah, that's what assassin is. Come on. And then we have Millie LaCour, who is like London's gem. She's a actress, and she's hiding this terrible secret. And then pretty much Millicent is Argent's new target, and he can't get rid of her. He's tried 3 times, spoiler. And it's just kind of their journey of like, he's trying to okay, I said this to the person I'm talking to on Instagram when I was giving her play-by-play. This is giving Dexter if he found his emotions. I'm gonna leave it at that, like pretty much. He's a redhead, so I'm like, and then how he was born, of like what he became, Dexter, like to the T. I'm pretty sure if we asked her, she would say like, yeah, I was kind of inspired by Dexter's character. But so Millicent's beautiful, everyone idolizes her, but then now like she was hired to be offed, and then he's like, he can't do it himself. He's like, you're my, you're under my protection. And it's like this whole journey, and him just like grappling with like these feelings of like, what am I feeling, what is this? And just like 2 very lonely people who, like, for her, she has upheld this image of like having it together. she's like beautiful, she's a beautiful actress, and she's just like perfect all around, but deep down she's like really struggling. And then for him, like, he's just struggled in straight silence. So good. I really, 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 really enjoyed this one. And the end, I was like in tears. I was like, oh my god. And there's a butler in there, Walter, I think, or Winston or something with a W. And he didn't have much, you know, but when he showed up, he showed up. So good. And so book 3 is called The Highlander. We love a Scottish lard. So good, so good. Layered, not lard, layered. Oh my goodness. Okay, again, trigger warning. I'd have to say this. The prologue and chapter 1 were probably some of the hardest things I've ever read, and I read Poppy more. Okay, I was like, oh my god. So we have the Demon Highlander, Lieutenant Carn. I never this word. Canal Coronel Liam Mackenzie. He's, you know, like pretty much, you know, Demon Highlander. He is scary. He's like in battle and war, and he was like untouchable by bullets and cannons, and he was ruthless and all this stuff like that. And then we have Miss Philomena, who is like escaping her past, and as like a way to hide from the person persecuting her, she goes and like Farah connects her to the Demon Highlander and is like, you're gonna be his governess for his 2 children that he's kind of just like neglected. Their mother tragically passed away, and he just doesn't know what to do, and he's like at his wit's end. So in that, it's like, you know, her keeping it secret and him dealing with his past of just like wanting to find peace in himself after such a life of brutality, his upbringing and everything. So well done. The only thing is, like, it was more centered around his issues than her issues, which her issues are very, very tragic, very, like, a very hard pill to swallow. But I wanted to see more of, like, him finding out what her issue was and, like, helping her through it, because it was so significant at the beginning, and I just felt like it kind of fell off at the end. And there was like a little also side twist that I was just like, okay, I didn't feel like that was necessary either. Their chemistry off the charts. He like and she's voluptuous. She is well endowed, if you know what I mean. And he is like ding, if you know. Really, really, this was like for sure a 5 out of 5 for me. This was like a 4 out of 5 because I just felt like some things, like I said, weren't executed like I wanted to see, but still really, really, really good. And lastly, I have another book coming of this series that my friend on Instagram is like one of her favorites, and I actually thrifted the damn book, but it's in storage, so I just checked it out of the library, and I'll read it there. And I do want these in my, like, I would reread these. That's how good they were. I would reread them, and I'm not a rereader at all. So lastly, The Duke, by Karen, again, same author, what am I talking about? So this one follows Duke Trenwith, and he was like a spy to the crown, and he went to war, was a prisoner of war, was tortured and all this stuff, and he comes back, and well, before he leaves, he has this rendezvous with Imogen, and it like impacts him for like, you know, it helps him survive his prison torture and all this stuff like that. And Imogen has secrets too. And I don't, it's kind of hard to like, well, it's not spoiling it. So Imogen lives 2 lives. She lived, you know, the life of a barmaid at like kind of like a prostitute brothel bar scenario, like all the serving girls. There's also an extra added service if you want to go to the upper rooms, but she's not included in that. And he comes just before he's about to leave for this like super secret mission, but everyone knows he's a spy, but he's like lethal and really good at it, blah blah blah. And he wants her, and she had to deal with the person like, hey, no, not me, I'm just trying to pay off my father's debt for fucking me up and all that stuff. And he wants her, and he pays a hefty price for her, and they have a night that she will never forget. They like connect. It's like an instant connection type of thing. And but she knows and feels like, okay, you're obviously way above me. You're a duke now, and I'm just like, we're never gonna be in the same circle, type of thing. But he like really impacted her. Flash forward a year. She's also, her other like day life is that she's a nurse, and he finally comes back, and he is tragically wounded. He lost his arm and like all this stuff, and she's like helping him recover. She's like his assigned nurse and everything. And when he finally comes to, she saves him. He's like, and she admits who she is to him while he's in this delirium of like fever and stuff like that, but he obviously doesn't register it. Again, this is not really spoiling anything. This is literally like the first 5 chapters, but it's like significant in me trying to explain the rest. So after he comes to, he like kicks her out and is like, I don't want you near me. And then the head piece of crap doctor of the hospital like fires her because of insubordination, you know, kind of like that whole like, you undermined me, and like hurting his little ego and stuff like that. So she's like, I don't know, her life just goes downhill from there. But then there's a marriage of convenience with an elderly, you know, gentleman who's well off and all this stuff. So then it's just kind of like the whole journey of like, he's desperately trying to find that woman from the bar that night that like was his lifeline while he was a prisoner of war. And she is hiding her past, and she's now a widow. She's, you know, she's kind of well off. She's also trying to help women in need and all this stuff, and they're neighbors. So, and it's just kind of this, I honestly skimmed read this. I really liked their characters as individuals, and they did have great chemistry together. And she said, you know, some really beautiful things. Like, I liked how she spoke and all that stuff, and she like was so desperately in love with him, but she was scared that he would reject her, even though he showed signs of like how desperate he wanted this woman, like this woman that he met and all this stuff. And I don't know, like, it was good. You know, she's in danger, and he's like feeling connected to her, but he's trying to hold strong and hold his heart for finding this woman that has his heart, and they're the same person. That's not spoiling anything. And I don't know, like, I give it like, I kind of skimmed read it. I was a little annoyed at some parts. I just felt like it could have, for that whole, it wasn't like he had amnesia, right? It wasn't like amnesia. He just didn't recognize her because when she was she worked at the bar, she did look different. But I don't know. And then kind of like why she held off. Like, I was looking for the old you too, but then she just then realized he's not there anymore. I don't know. At the end of the day, I feel like it could have been executed better, and I just felt like it was lacking in a lot of elements. And like, her hiding her identity lasted till like here. I mean, and I was just like, okay. So anyways, again, talking for a lot longer than I planned, but quickly, the next books that I'm getting 3 books. I'm kind of like trying to like take it easy a little bit. Oh, I am DNFing. I didn't even really start it at all. But the other book that I got, which I showed, was Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, I think. Emily Bronte. And mentally, you know, like, I'm not there. So I did a little bit of research, and I'm like, I don't think this is a happy ending. And I like kind of went on Goodreads, which I know you gotta take the reviews on Goodreads with like a pinch of salt. And I was just like, I don't think this is a good book for me right now, or maybe ever. I've lately, since I've been pulling away from romance, like straight up romance, to like fantasy romance, romantasy, and like there's more plot and everything. And you know, there's romance, but I've read a couple books that just aren't happy ending, and I just, what is that? Who wants that? Who wants that kind of suffering? You know what I mean? So you know, after reading some of the reviews, I was like, as much as I would love to get into the classics, but I don't want to suffer in reading them. So I'm just not reading it. I don't think I'm ever going to read it, to be honest. I think I'll be able to, you know, be at peace with that. So, and then coming is, which maybe it's ready today, maybe it's already there, I can go pick it up. I'm going to read, part of this series is The Duke with the Dragon Tattoo. Really excited. I'm going to read that one. And then 2 books I got, which I think it's a duology. I think it's complete. It's by Jay Kristoff. I'll put a picture here of like the vampire one. I forget what it's called. But I was like, I haven't read anything vampire, and like a lot of people say it's like really, really good. And so I'm going to read that. And there's another book that I'm going to get. I gotta see if my library app has the audiobook, but I want to see if they have the physical book, and I'm going to check it out. And it's called The Phoenix King. I forget the author, but I'm solely reading this for the artwork that she created that's coming out for her book 2 of this series. That is the only reason why I'm reading this. It sounds good. I don't know much about it, but it's kind of like a vengeful heir type of energy. It's magic, fantasy. I really need to check out of the real world right now. That's what I need. I need complete and like non-realistic things. I'd like that. So yeah, I'm gonna end it here. I did not intend to talk this long, but I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you've read any of these. I have a lot of fun videos that I have in mind. Hopefully I execute them. I do want to kind of like ramp up and maybe a video a week or 2. No promises, but that's what I would like to do. But yeah, let me know if you've read any of these. Let me know what you dressed up as, or what you dressed your child up as for Halloween. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.